Got the whole world in your hands. Hello, this is Bharat again. So I have a few more considerations about fingers, the Jupiter finger and the Mercury fingers, which I didn't cover or forgot to mention in the previous videos. So one about, we're talking before about the Jupiter finger. Now I did mention that if the left hand is it's short, and then in the right hand it becomes normal, what that signifies. But then there's also the other situation where it is normal in the left hand and then it is short in the right hand, and that usually means that something has happened or has happened in this life, or during this life, yes, during this life, that cause a deficiency in the mechanisms of the Jupiter mechanisms which we talked about. And very often you're going to see that both the Mercury and the Jupiter finger bending. And when you see that, you know that there's been something amiss with their upbringing. Because I think I mentioned this before, but when the fingers are growing, if there's not that proper nourishment in their environment, love nourishment, those fingers grow bent. So so as soon as you see the bent fingers of Mercury and Jupiter, you know there's been something something with the parents. Something wrong with the way they were developed, the way they grew up, the environment they were in, and whether it's coming from other lives, whether it's a deep-rooted issue, whether it's something just from this parents, could be from parents from another life which they haven't resolved. So this is something that you have to look at, and also the Mercury finger. When classically, when you have a bent finger of Mercury, in old-time palmistry books, if you looked at palmistry books some 200 years ago, which some of them are quite so good, they would say somebody with a bent finger of Mercury is a liar, is dishonest. And of course, every time the finger bends, it brings the mind in. It brings what they say, brings cleverness to the mouth. Cleverness to the fingers. So cleverness in relationships is manipulation, is being not honest with your feelings. So that's the way I interpret a bent finger of Mercury. Of course, it can be an indication of dishonesty, but it's usually the person has a difficulty to be direct with their emotions in relationships, because Mercury does deal with intimate relationships, your family and your sexual relationships. So a bent finger is usually, there is some difficulty with it, and it usually relates, again, coming back to the parents, coming back very often with the father, and trust issues. So again, that's another thing that I almost immediately assume when I see a bent finger of Mercury is trust issues. Basically, usually with the father. Okay, definitely can be with the mother, but usually I see with the father. And but those two together are showing that there is some sort of issues going on with their relationship with the parents, and the nourishment that they did receive when they were younger, and whether that's coming from other lives or not. Now, you only see that together, the Jupiter and the Mercury finger bending in regards to that, whereas the Sun and the Saturn finger is more fear. So that's always fear-based. When the Saturn finger bends, and the Saturn finger can bend either left or right, that is about fear. So either they're afraid to trust existence. Again, it's about trusting existence. People when the Saturn finger bends towards Jupiter, they're more like trying to get things to be right. Not just letting the apple get ripe and fall to the floor. They want to push the river, type of thing. And when it bends towards the Sun, when the Saturn finger bends to the Sun, that is about fear of something inside, something inner, coming out. So you'll see that, and very often you'll see when we'll talk about the standing of the fingers that, for example, the Saturn and the Sun finger will stand together. And we'll talk about the standing of the fingers later on. But I just wanted to do this, finish these other considerations of about fingers and bent and normal straight. Okay, so again, if there's something I feel like I left out later on, I will come back to it at some other time. So this is again Barad at Palmistry Unplugged, and I'm signing off. Thank you very much. Bye. Got the whole world in your hands. You